and articulate zile shida ambazo wanapitia.
Okay, yes, I have a certain education level, but circumstances forced me to be in that market.
Yes.
And in that market, I met so many desperate people, readers, but they have no any educational background. Some are from high school, from primary school, but their leadership and their ideas are more than those with degrees and diplomas. So me, I engage with all people. When we are saying about the degree, maybe I have, but the people in the cloud there, I want them to bring them back up. That's why I have been engaging with them and knowing that these people, they are readers. They are readers, but the educational level is up to Form 4. Some are from Class 8, but they can speak English, they can understand what you are saying. And I'm asking these people, why do you bring this constitution in the cloud? Ya wale watu wako agenda university. And you are told, let these people know about this constitution. My people, we have Boda Boda, we have Mama Boga, but they have skills. They have ideas, and they can be leaders. Yeah.
That is the point. Let me tell you what Honorable Senator Kipchumba Murkomen was arguing at the level of the Senate, that probably this should not be a basic requirement, and therefore his proposal was that let whoever wishes to proceed and vie for a certain position that we're talking about from members of county assembly upwards should have at least, proper understanding of a certain language, 3 key languages, that is English, that is Kiswahili, and sign language, at least. That was his proposal. And therefore, I pick it up from what it is that Shiko has said, that, a majority of them are able to articulate themselves. And why then should you lock them on basis of the fact that they've not hit the degree level? We come back to you, Eric.
Perfect. I'll say this. I'm not of the opinion that we lock them out, because practically that is... Is it
not practically locking them out when we say that this is the basic requirement?
Let's be clear.
Yeah.
I don't say that leadership necessarily means that you have to have all these papers and such. But allow me to say this. In discharging duties, especially as legislators, we practically need a lot of critical thinking. You see, I said that my proposal initially was probably asking for a degree for MCA is too far-fetched. It's a little bit transcendental, forgive me, Linda, but I want to believe for MPs and senators, the basic requirement of education has to be key. That has to be
How
key.
different is this? Before the governors get to the level of Senate or the level of, Member of Parliament, the level of the National Assembly, they will always go through the MCAs first. Let's talk about the impeachment processes. Let's talk about overseeing the procedures that are playing out at the level of the county. County is as good as the national government because they are mini governments in their own space. Well,
fine, yes, I agree. But then again, the whole idea is I want to pick up from where you set that precedence of having someone who's local and everybody likes this local person and they want them to vie for MCA at least. I want to believe, yes, education should not be one of the parameters, but I want to believe it's an added X factor. It is not primary, yes, and I also want to remind you that the same person, the small excerpt you spoke about from Kipchumba Murkomen, that guy is a lawyer. That guy is a whole graduate.
You said example.
And I want to tell you something. There is one problem in this country, and I want to remind you what Mheshimiwa Karanja talked about. There's this superiority complex. Once we go into parliament and one of the persons there has a degree, has a PhD, he tends to undermine that local person. So the whole idea is let us all be of the same bar, and if not, maybe closer. Let us bridge that gap. That's why I insist. Back in 2017, anyone that did not qualify for, according to the academic qualifications, anyone that was not a Form 4 graduate was locked out. What do you have to say about all those people who are good leaders and quit school in class 8? When they locked out, they were locked out. So basically, all we're trying to say is let us be progressive. Probably have an amendment to the same law and probably ask for a diploma when it comes to for the MCA seat, but for the MP, I clearly insist that, and the senator, I clearly insist that has to be a degree.
Interesting.
Just a second. There is a famous saying that says that if you think education is expensive,
try ignorance. Yes, you know what to try. You know what to try. Simon Awene, allow us to also loop in Simon Awene before we come to you, Mheshimiwa. Simon Awene, you've had the debate. You know, somehow they have just admitted to us that sometimes it's not the debate about common mwananchi that goes on there, that it's about who's more learned, who's going to what, and everything. What would be your word to the representatives that we have today, and those ones that are in parliament today, those ones that are at the county assemblies as we speak today?
I think, Madam Linda, I think I hold a divergent opinion. Mwanzo, mimi nimegrow Githogoro. It's a slum within Runda community, where the diplomats, the dignitaries, and the who is who lives. Nikasoma mji wa Huruma. It's a slum school. Tulisoma kwa nyumba ya mabati, no laboratory, no anything, but I still managed to score C. Sasa, ninaanza kukatazwa that you cannot vie for an MCA because you do not have a degree. Yet I was walking, tamacking through the dignitaries nikienda kwa hiyo shule, and they did not buy even a pencil in that school. Right. So I think, because me, I work in slums with my organization. So I think there is also ways when watu wanaweza you can gain leadership skills through involvement in community work, also through reading some books in the libraries and other things. Wasikuati, like we should not uphold these papers so much ni kama zinamaanisha vitu mingi sana in our lives. So I think the whole story about this thing, I think it's just politics of bureaucracy. Ya kwanza kuweka watu wengine waonekane kama the children of lesser God and the other people, because we must first go and tujiulize, mbona huyu mtu hana degree? Why?
But don't you think that would be a justification? Kila mtu atakuwa anasema huko kulikuwa na shida, kulikuwa na nini. There are others who genuinely could have attained the same. Don't you think it's only fair that we get to that level, where, it's a universal ground, as of course Honorable Stanley would argue?
I think, Madam Linda, are they ready to make university education free?
Okay.
For Wanjiko? Are they ready? Because right now as I'm talking, kuna watoto tuko nayo kwa ofisi yetu, they are not even sure kama wataenda secondary school. Yet we are arguing about a degree. We must first argue about standard O-level education for Wanjiko, ndio tuende kwa mambo ya degree. Hii mambo ya degree tupatie wale mabwenyenye, akina senators, the MPs, the governors, the deputy governors. But here down hapa kwa MCA, let us talk about minimum educational level.
Okay.
Umemaliza form 4, yes, what have you been doing all this through? Let's check their CV.
Hold it. I'll ask you this. MCA mmoja amekuja huku Githogoro, amefanya kazi mzuri sana. Huyu mkimwangalia unaona hata akifika level ya president atatusaidia sana. How then do we push such a person? Maybe hata sasa juu ameperform vizuri, ana interest ya kuendelea ku make his level of education better. Amekuja hapo, hana degree, lakini ana perform vizuri. Sasa asipande ladder kufika mpaka MP?
But also, Madam Linda, ukiweza kuingia kwa county assembly, soma.
Pesa iko ya kutosha?
Enda usome.
Wacha tuulize, pesa iko ya kutosha?
Usirudi 5 years down unatuambia you still hold form 4 level. So ukiingia kwa assembly, uko na pesa, and that is what was hindering you from acquiring education. Now go to school. Ukirudi 5 years down on ground unatuambia bado uko na form 4, bado wewe ni mtu wa bamba.
All right.
You have a problem.
Let's come back to Jennifer. Jennifer, sawa, that's where you are. Wacha tuulize Jennifer Iswali. Jennifer, you raised this, let them match up. I think that's a very first point you had also mentioned. But my question is, again, the quality of education in the country is one that has been questioned. Sometimes we say we have half-baked, degree holders that really do not even fit into the job market. So moving forward, creating the space pretty much easy for Kenyans to be able to access education. But importantly, the quality of education. Kuna ule mtu, and I'm sorry to say this, enyewe ni, sijui nitamuita danda, sijui kama mnajua danda inamaanisha, like mtu wako down kabisa. However much they would push to a certain level of education, will that be quality?
No. But again, what we supposed to look at, the law is progressive. We are supposed to move on. And we are, right now, degree is just like a basic thing. And before then, we had like 4 to 5 universities. And I can tell you right now, each and every county has a university. What we need to make is the degree to be affordable. When you're making the degree to be affordable, but the graduate that we are teaching, how do we inspire them to be the leaders? If we say if you need to become a leader, you just need to lead it right. Will that graduate have morale when they are leading? Will they have who is inspiring them? I remember I come from Kirinyaga. When we were growing up, we used to watch Mother Karua in Parliament, and everybody you were inspired, and you'd say, that is my MP. I want to be a lawyer like Mother Karua. She was inspiring. You cannot be she was representing even the unheard, the unknown. What we need to do moving forward, we need to make our education affordable. How do we make our education affordable? We need to pay the donors, the universities, the lecturers. We need to pay them well, and we need to have them minimum pay that they should also feel they are appreciated. Also, another thing maybe we should do for the MPs, the senators, especially the senators. You remember when we are debating the bill allocation of revenue, the senators would not be able to agree. And in that bill, you could even be able to note who are the senators who are talking about their counties. Are they passionate about their work? And I'm also disappointed by the former leader of majority, Kipchumba. Kipchumba wants to be a governor. Does he want the MCAs who are not learned to oversight him?
All right, well, hold it at that. Olekina on the other side says, substitute that with certificates and diplomas. Let it not apply to those who have served before. That's going to be interesting. There are people who've been at the National Assembly before and therefore did not hold this. How then can you say that this should not apply to them? I would rather that they say, push them to make sure that they acquire this. But let's loop in Honorable Mbaye, who's been on standby for quite a while before we come to you. Honorable Mbaye, again, at the level of Parliament, Honorable Denita Gati argues that it will be mockery to the House to take unlearned members. What do you say?
Thank you, Linda. I get a bit upset, if you allow me, but to hear us glorifying every time degrees. Now, Linda, you know very well, we can push this thing of education so much. We push people to universities. They go there, come up with the papers, but they are not learned. We are going to dilute the sanctity of education in this country by saying, everybody go to school, you must go to, now that you are MCA and you want to defend your seat, go to school. And naturally, you're not predisposed in this issue of education. Education is not easy, Linda. We are going to end up getting guys in university to go and buy degrees. We are going to dilute the sanctity of education in this country by talking about education every day. Now, what we are saying is this. When we keep on saying about learned people, learned people, we need people who are learned. Let me tell you, if you have Shiko, and I want to encourage you, Shiko, today, please go for that seat of MCA. We will make sure in this country that we will make sure we will not lock you out. So long as you have the passion and the people says it is you, Shiko, make sure you vie. We will make sure we remove all these bottlenecks being pushed by some people. Let's not dilute the whole matter. Go to the ground. Wajiko knows who to vote in and who to vote out next time. There's something called universal suffrage. Universal suffrage, Linda, says that there is one man, one vote. It is the people who put us in positions. If we are not appointed, I'm not here courtesy of the papers that I have. I'm here courtesy of the fact that Wajiko says it is Mbaye who is going to represent me in the county assembly of Nakuru. Now, this issue of learned, when you keep on talking about learned people, where learned where? You can have somebody with a paper, but they are not learned. They have not internalized. Now, Lina, remember, we have cases, known cases in this country where we had some people at very high levels of political leadership. They had papers. They got very high positions, and we all know what happened. Because, yes, they went in a rush, they got papers from wherever, but we could see from the way of interacting with the people, from the way they were conducting their businesses as very high senior positions, they were all kicked out. And every Kenyan agreed that surely these people are not leaders. Why are we not going to the issues of other values? Someone talks about, I think Simon talks about values. Talked about what else are we bringing on the table? We can have this. We can educate people who are going to be very bad at this. And who tells you, Linda, that you have somebody who is educated with a mechanical engineer course or a doctor or a lawyer, that he has a passion in parliament to go and push for bills? Who said? Maybe you'll be looking for businesses from abroad.
Mheshimiwa, 2 words here.
Please let us not lose this discussion. Let us not lose.
All right. 2 words here.
Let us not provide education.
2 words here. Ponder on them, and then I'll come back to you. Dilute and discourage. There is that worry that if we push people to that direction, then we're going to dilute the importance of education. But again, don't you think there is a worry that if we do not reward the ones that have, you clearly said that, education is not easy, and achieving, that level of PhD is not easy. There's so much that is put into that. A scenario where you are not rewarded with your country for the same, don't you think it will discourage very many people for not taking the angle of education, for not upholding the importance of education? So ponder on that. I'll come back to you. But also on this other point, I don't know why I have lost this point, just maybe to uphold what it is that he says. TVET. Today, it is the government that tells us, you might have attained a certain level. You could have performed pretty well, but it's not necessary for you to go to university. We are talking about skills. You can proceed to go to TVET. A scenario where, as learned as you are, you have taken the direction of TVET, which is performing so well, or is projected to be performing so well in the years to come, and you're locked out of parliament simply because you do not have a degree. What happens in such a scenario, Stanley?
Thank you very much. I think there is something that we are losing. And one is that we should not devalue education. That's one thing. Number 2, when one goes to university, you become universal. You are able to digest so many and fathom so many issues at a time. Yeah. Number 2, there is the issue that we are talking about, and this is the issue that we are saying here, that if, for example, everything has a bar. And that's what, in actual sense, what we should be debating on is that who should have what and who should not have what. One, you talked about Kipchumba Murkomen, what Kipchumba Murkomen is. And I'm telling you that Kipchumba Murkomen is trying to save some of his fellow colleagues. Remember, Kipchumba Murkomen, when the ward bill was brought by Kangata, which is very crucial to Ajiko, whom we are saying that Kipchumba Murkomen loves Wajiko. Why did he shoot down the World Development Kit when it was brought by Kangata? Right. So I'm telling you, political is self-survival. Number 3, we are looking at the role of the senator. The senator is supposed to oversight the governor. He is the one who is supposed to bring money. He is the one who is supposed to lobby. Yeah. And then the governor has a degree. The deputy has a degree. And you want to tell me that this senator, who is not learned enough to match the governor, will be able to oversight the governor? The MPs, and this is the last one, MPs do give out what is called bursaries. They give bursaries so that people can uplift the educational standard. Can you imagine an MP who dropped from standard 2 and he is telling you, I dropped? And then he is the one who is telling you, can I be your role model? That is where we are going wrong. And what the doctor is telling us, doctor tells you very clearly that he has a master's, he has a PhD. But now he tells you that we don't want to lock, we are not locking. What we are saying is this, and this is now the secret leader. Why people like doctor would not like a certain minimum education entry behavior. You see, when you open the field, for example, for the seat that he wants to go to, that of Subukia, everybody will come. And he knows very well that the more the people, the more they designate the votes. So that now, other than having in a constituency, you will have 10 contestants because everybody will try to come in. Now, when you put educational qualification, there will be 4 or 5. Are
you trying to say that then we should celebrate the fact that we are not having many of us that are learned? Wouldn't you wish that we have 10 that are indeed learned, honestly? Make it brief so that Eric can come in.
Let me tell you, and he told you very clearly that there were so many. And I defeated them all of the Form 4s. That is the scenario that now we are headed in. The more the people, the more they will disintegrate the vote, and this educated person will now come and say, you know, these people do not have a degree. These people do not have the papers. I can be able to make bills. I can be able to make motions. I can be able to be in the budget committee. And that's why then they will tell people, kwa nini mnasomesha watoto wenu kama hamwezi wapatia.
So just what is in this aspect of a degree? Is it the environment, the fact that you go to campus and you're able to relate?
No, it is political survival.
No. My question is actually to you on the aspect where you say it's very important to get to that level of the degree. You know, is it in the environment, you know, the campus environment, the university environment, the fact that you're able to relate with people and learn other things, or just exactly what is into that? Because if it's about the environment, the reality is that we also have diplomas that are being offered in the very same, you know, environments. I'll go to Kenyatta University to get my certificate, and therefore, so what exactly is in the aspect of, you know, attaining a degree? Maybe Eric should be able to answer that.
Perfect. Thank you very much. But before I answer that, Linda, there's a reason why Mbai is called Daktari. If education was not so important, he will never put that DR in front of his name. Okay. One of his scare tactics is putting that DR in front of his name.
But he agrees that education is important.
No, I'll tell you, come the day of that poster, he will not be Peter Mbai. He will be Dr. Peter Mbai.
Okay.
I am not attacking him. I am just saying. But ideally, I want to tell you something, Linda. I think, to be really fair to everybody in this country, I actually think that maybe for the first time applicants in terms of candidature, the first time people trying to seek the elective post, especially for the MCA, maybe we might lower the bar a little lower. Maybe we could probably talk about Form 4. And now since TVETs have come about, diploma was my suggestion. But for re-election,
okay,
that is an amendment I'd make to this.
You know, we also do not want leaders who are here, they're supposed to serve us and they're busy now enriching themselves and going to classes and all that. And we understand that the system of education nowadays is so friendly, they'd be able to juggle all that. But don't you think that puts so much into, you know, the education and probably forget why we elected them?
If education is enriching, why say no?
Okay.
If education is enriching, why say no? I will keep on insisting something, Linda, that if ignorance is the way we want to trend towards, I want to tell you for free, you are going to really compromise the standards set, not only for development, but as well as legislation, Linda. Allow me to finally say this, Linda. We are a very reactive country. When I say we are a reactive country, most of us will put on our seatbelts just before you get to the police check. Yeah? Most of us will put on their masks just before you get to Polisi Wakanjo or maybe the police officer. Why? Because we are a reactive nation.
Right.
Now, the moment you put this, you shelve this, I can tell you as a matter of fact, there are very many people who are interested in leadership and have actually gone to school so that, and have invested deeply in education so that they are compliant to this law. Now, the moment you shelve it, then I think that we are actually being retrogressive. Like Mheshimiwa was talking about, education is universal. Education is universal. Lastly,
let's allow somebody else to come in.
Just a second. We are placed in committees. The moment you walk into assembly, you are placed in committees.
Yes. Just a second, Mheshimiwa, yes?
We are placed in committees. And you're placed in committees based on your proficiency. Like, I am an engineer by profession. I am in the roads committee. I can give my views and I can actually contribute towards ensuring that the roads infrastructure department of Nakuru County is geared towards the right direction. Daktari is a daktari of, well, I don't know what, but then again, I want to believe that he's in a committee that is relevant to what he went to school for.
And true to it, let's engage him on the very same note. Let's take it a notch higher and look at the committees, honestly, Daktari. Would you not agree that it's important to have, you know, people who are proficient in a certain, you know, a sector or in a certain angle to take up these particular committees? For instance, we're talking about having CSs that are more of technocrats. I don't know whether that has worked for us, but we've had that conversation before, that in as much as you're coming in as a CS, you're a politician, please be a technocrat on a certain angle, on the committee that you placed or on the ministry that you are placed. Has that really served us?
Thank you very much, Linda. I want just to say one thing, and just to put it clear. I have spent about 20 years of my life doing education. So I want to start. It's very important. Actually,
let's allow him to finish his line of thought. Yes.
Can I, Linda?
Yes.
Yes, Linda. And I have a bit of education and humble enough, because education humbles you. Humble enough to go back and work at education as my key agenda. But Linda, humble enough not to say anybody else who didn't go to school as a young must be low. Now, I want to say that very clearly. That's where I'm coming from. Now, remember, Linda, I've taken education as one of my key aspects in my work and what I'm telling you to do in future. Going to schools, talking about education, telling them, look here, guys, I'm only one here with the can you come up, to schools, making sure those guys who go through Form 4 go to COOPs and go to colleges, because I'm telling them I came through here. It is important, but I can't go and say as a policy maker, hey, hold on a minute. If you didn't have a degree, you cannot file. What I want to do is this, Linda, to encourage as many people to study, to encourage as many people to go to university. That's what I'm doing every day, to encourage my colleagues in the assembly. Only the 20 in the assembly of Nakuru, since 2017, have gone through university. They are graduating. Some next year, some about 20 are graduating by next year, by this year. So I want you to know, leader, I have a lot of passion, and that's what I'm doing every day, to encourage other people to study. What I can policy maker, because I know where God brought me from through education many years, I cannot come and say, hey, if you have not already achieved this degree, you cannot be a leader. I will allow them to come in like Shiko, so that as they move in, they will continue improving themselves and we make this progressive. Now, the issue of committees, first of all, let me say this. In the county assemblies, unfortunately, starting with Nakuru, there was no consideration for any education or anything. People are just committees. That's a fact.
Remember, these are members of county assembly from Nakuru, Nakuru County.
And then, leader, this is important. Leader, this is important. What happens if you get someone like Shiko? We are here because we are practical, Linda.
Make it brief.
If we get Shiko as an MCA, she will join the county assembly, I think, of Kiambu. And because she has a passion to learn and know what is pertaining to her work to represent her people, she will have the interest to go and learn, talk to the clerks, talk to other members, understand, ask questions. Even myself, I'm not an expert in everything, but I have the capacity to go and ask the clerk, what happens here? Now, if I need to push this law, if I need to push this motion, I have an idea about my market. Then you'll be advised how to go a bit progressively. We don't want to be the people, just because some of us have education and degrees, to be the people to lock out. Now, Linda,
Mheshimiwa, we have to be fair. In the best interest of time, we have to we have to be fair. We have to be fair. Jennifer has been on standby. Mheshimiwa, allow me. All right.
If you feel you have so much education, you are not being paid well, or you are not being given a chance in politics, can you go and look for a job in public service or elsewhere?
All right. Honorable Jennifer.
Public Service Board of Nakuru, where I was,
we have to have some order, Mheshimiwa.
Go to the world, because I knew this is not about being paid.
Mheshimiwa, are you not able to hear me?
So anybody who feels that they are discouraged because they have degrees,
Honorable Jennifer,
and they are not being...
Let's allow Honorable Jennifer to come in. Mheshimiwa, I hope you can hear us. Kindly, let's allow the others also to weigh in on the same. Okay. But he raises pertinent issues, especially on the aspect of diluting this. And I mean, go to Nigeria, almost everybody holds a degree. The biggest question today is, okay, let's overlook this debate on, having representatives that have gotten to the level of degree. I mean, Kenyans are struggling. They do not have jobs. With the level of education that they have reached. Are we not scared that, well, if this is the direction that we're taking, we'll have very many people rushing to that direction, wanting to get a degree that is probably not quality, that is not justified. And then how then do we get to a point where we'll be keen enough to make sure that in as much as someone would come and present their papers and say that they have a degree, we do due diligence to make sure that this is legit?
Okay, what you need to understand why we said there was the need of the degree. You see, first of all, we need to understand where we are coming from. It was the Wanjiko who said that they need some leaders with the level of education in the committee of experts. And then, during the 2017 parliament, the speaker complained that he had to take induction of the MPs twice. They could not even grasp understand their role. So, and they are using the taxpayers' money. If it is the money they are using, we need to see our value for our money. These are the people who are representing us in the international community, in the international arenas. They are amending treaties. How do they amend? How do you go amend a treaty that you don't even know? You just know how to read and write and read. You need some level understanding. Understand the concept. Be able to apply it. And the leadership, you know, we always say leadership is born. But now you can see we live in a global village world. There is the technology. We all say we need a person who can read and understand. Right now, you can see we are talking with Mheshimiwa. He's not here. He's in Naivasha. We are able to communicate. We also need leaders who can be able, who are technologically savvy. They can be able to Google. They can be able to read from wherever. But when we just limit ourselves, like we are limiting ourselves, we are Kenyans, we don't want people to push us to another level. And if you look at countries like Germany, the chancellor who was there, she was a scientist, and we all say she handled the pandemic of COVID well because of her knowledge of education. Can we say that if she didn't have that education, she could have handled well? We all say.
Do you think we would escalate this conversation to a point where I would say now, for you to be anywhere in politics, then you should be having a degree of political science, because that's actually the direction that we might actually go. If everyone
No. But
would it not trigger such a conversation?
But you see, when you are in the National Assembly makes laws for all of us. They make laws for entrepreneurs,
hold it.
environment.
There's a reason why I come up with this argument. We've had technocrats, true to it, at the level of the ministries. What have they done? Go to Zimbabwe. There's been a lot of complaints as to how the Minister of Finance has handled issues to do with matters money, because, well, they are a technocrat on matters money, but they are not politicians in real sense, and therefore it's been terrible and hard for them to handle the same.
But now you see, like when in our Kenyan's parliament, you remember when they were vetting Magoha, the CS for education?
Yes.
They did not even vet him. When they looked at the CV,
yes,
they said the CV had 96 pages. And then they were like, we cannot even be able to read and understand. We should just say he's learned.
We should just say he did well in Nairobi University, and therefore he could handle the education docket well.
Yes.
But has he done that?
He has not handled, but did they even question what he's coming to do? Because they
does this then not contradict what it is that
because they
they're
also
saying?
felt intimidated by his level of education. So they felt that if I ask this person, he's a professor, has PhD, has worked on these all levels, how
is
do
it
I
not
even
what
ask
is going
him
to
questions?
get then Wanjiku asking what is the point of having such a learned person, yet even the education sector, and I'm not saying he's not done well, these are just concerns that have been raised by the people.
Magoha is not an educationist.
Or briefly,
He's a
let's,
medic.
no, let's allow the others to come in also, so that they do not feel like they've been left out. But even before that, Alex Waithaika says, well said, we cannot apply law selectively if all we are equal before it. I think it's based on what it is that you had raised earlier on. Well, Daniel O. Williams says that this is a scholar. Bia Ariko says it means the speaker never went to school. Maybe this might have been overtaken by time based on the arguments that we had earlier on. Karoki Kabeti says they can go do business like Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, etc. Uongozi achia wasomi. Let people go to school. And yes, many of us are arguing that school is extremely, extremely important. Coming back to you, Wanjiku, what would be your take home on this one? To be honest, is it necessary that kweli tupate viongozi ambao wanaenda shule ama wameenda shule, so at least we can also get to encourage our children down there that the world is progressive, the world is moving to a direction where it is critical for one to have unlike back then where you used to be told that primary level is really good enough to start from. Today we are speaking of a scenario where at a higher degree, honestly, sometimes you march into an office, you have no say because you are the least educated because you have a degree. The others are talking masters, the others are talking PhD.
Yes, I want to say education can fix economy, but doing the right thing does not need an education.
Okay.
Then we can judge a fish and say it is very stupid, but the fish, it is in the long
place.
The environment.
It's not in water. Okay.
Yeah. So what I want to say, the youth, some of the youth have not, they are not well up. Na sasa tukisema mtu mwenye ametoka mahali is not well up and did not get that degree will be locked out. Is the long, that's why we are saying they are in the long
space, yes.
Environment. And that's why nowadays we have CBC. Na CBC, my grade 4 child anaweza pika chai. Akikuja mahali kama hapa and you need a certificate ya kupika chai, and a standard 8 girl can cook a tea. So I think we are being locked out like youths now. Watu wenye hawajasoma kuna kitu naona wanaachwa nje.
Alright.
So that's where the bottom up approach is coming.
Oh, are
Yes.
you speaking the Tanga conversation now?
I can say that because we are having so many people, they are mama bogas.
Okay.
Wakienda hata the office of our president, they cannot even given wako kufagia. Hawezi fagia.
But that's you about money. It's not about getting money into the pocket. Okay, well, money you can get based on what it is that you're doing.
I'm just trying to kuonyesha, yes, there is education, but so many here in cloud, watu wengi, they are not well up to get that degree. Now, they are not getting jobs. That's why we have jobless people. They are capable of doing things, but they cannot.
They don't have that chance.
And those certificates, they don't have those chances.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awene.
Madam Linda.
Awene, you can hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
I don't know what.
I can hear you,
yes,
Madam
yes,
Linda.
Yes.
One, Madam Linda, wacha tuongee ukweli. Some of this problem tunaenda through have been manufactured by the political parties. Because when we are going for political parties primary elections, you see there is direct nomination. So mwananchi wa kawaida hajapewa nafasi ya kunominate yule mtu anataka.
Okay.
Then they bring tribal conversation, mtu wetu initiative, sisi kama jamii. So if we can have a sober primary election, mwananchi wa kawaida atachagua yule mtu mwenye ako more involved on the ground. Unaona, there is this trend that kwa ground vitu ni different.
Yeah.
Some of these leaders, and I can challenge them, let me ask them a question, and I want you to ask them direct in their face.
Yes.
Wewe na hiyo degree yako, what are you doing to your community? Today, what are you doing to your community? Huyu mtu ajai ataanzisha initiative ya kufagia tu takataka kwa mlango ama kwa mtaro nyingine hapo hivyo. Na anataka kukua msafi, kwenda town, kurudi, to do, you know, who is going to do all this? Tusifanye degree ionekane that if you do not hold a degree, wewe si kiongozi. Leadership begins by yourself. You have to first lead yourself. Like Madam Linda, niruhusu ni, I think my MP is following, and he has just sent me a text based on what we are discussing.
Okay.
My MP for Westlands constituency. Can I read this?
Yes, please.
This is Honorable Tim Wanyonyi. This is what he's saying. Simon, I agree with you. Some education that education requirement in the present establishment is a must. The parliamentary procedure is a complex issue, and sometimes the standard of debate and engagement is very high and requires deep understanding and analysis of issues. That is why some members feel lost in the House when we are debating complex issues. Some level of issues is necessary, but one can acquire leadership through direct involvement in community work, like you are doing, through training and reading. But experience comes through active participation and training. One must always read to learn and be active in community work.
Right.
So that is Tim Wanyonyi, the MP for Westland. He's my MP.
Yes.
You know, the reason why he's acknowledging, he knows what we are doing down there on ground. But some of these people, you know, Madam Linda, can I ask you a question?
Right.
Leo tunaambiwa tuende technical
TVET, yes, training colleges.
Hizo TVET grades tunafanya grade 2, grade 3 in mambo na plumbing, masonry na nini. So leo ukakuwa leader mwenye umekuja kwa empower vijana kwa community through your job. Maybe wewe ni fundi wa mason, ukakuja ukakuwa what is this, umekuwa supervisor, ukaenda ukakuwa I don't know the right word nilikuwa kutumia, uka-involve vijana wengi, then ukakuja kuona need ya community, there is a certain bridge that you need to gap. ukakuja na initiative that now watu wanakuambia wewe tunataka kuchagua kiongozi because you are so much attached to us and we believe you can change ABCD.
Okay.
Kesho utakuwa sasa discriminated, wanakuambia sisi hatuwezi chagua mtu wa plumber. Sisi hatuwezi. For example, Madam Linda, we have DJs. Unajua DJ certificate is not recognized.
Yeah.
And we have people like DJ John Falme throwing some, ukiona hao waheshimiwa wakicheza, will you even differentiate huyu ni mheshimiwa ako na degree na huyu hana?
Gomo.
Let me ask you a question. Ushayaona mtu wa kijiji wa kawaida kitrend when it's come to moral issues? Hao waheshimiwa na wasichana na maslay queens. Have you ever seen mtu wa kawaida?
No.
So we must also talk about the moral standards za hizi universities, moral levels and the morality yenye zimekuwa associated na the degree.
All right.
We have to talk about them. Hatuwezi tukaenda kuchagua slay queen mwenye ako na degree na aelewi hata nini nataka kukuja kufanya.
Wanawake nayo Jennifer, I hope utatudefend. Tumeonewa sana.
We have not only slay queens. Let me also talk about the slay kings. Hawa vijana, look at the rise in lesbianism and gayism at the moment. Is that what they come to campaign for down on ground?
No.
You know, we have to talk about integrity when it comes to leadership.
To leadership, all right. I think that is his point. As we almost come to a close, yes.
It is good also to put matters into perspective.
Yes.
I say that qualification for an election is either a member of parliament or any. B says satisfy any education, moral, ethical requirement. This is constitutional.
Right.
Therefore, whatever he is saying is that there is prohibition, that there are some things you cannot be able to do. And you cannot be able to qualify. Number two is that I don't see the reason why we should lose this debate. If we lose it here, tumepotea kabisa. Na tunasema hivi, unaweza kuwa kiongozi hata kama wewe si mbunge. If you can be able to mobilize people, wewe ni kiongozi. Whichever
level.
And you can be able to empower. Unajua, watu wanafikiria ya kwamba by being a member of parliament, hapo
but you also understand that key decisions in society are made at that level. And therefore we can't overlook that.
Ndiposa nasema ya kwamba hebu angalia hivi. Wakati sisi tulikuwa tunatafuta walimu wa nursery school, ECD, tulisema ya kwamba lazima mwalimu yeyote ambaye ana apply awe na C. Si ni kweli? Number 2, tukakuja tukasema ya kwamba kama unataka kuwa mwalimu wa primary na unadili na watu, lazima uwe na C. Ukienda polisi wale wanakibia, there is a minimum qualification. Uwezi enda ati kwa sababu wewe ni mkibiaji na umeweza kuwa, utaulizwa where are your papers. At the long day utaulizwa where are the papers. Therefore each and every category does have its entry, minimum entry behavior. Number 3, wacha tuseme hivi. Unakumbuka we are remembering Kibaki. Kibaki only led this country as a president for 10 years.
Yes.
Na sasa kila mtu anaibaga Kibaki. Because the guy was an economist, he knew where to fix and how. We talked about Moi. All the institutions about tulikuwa na, whether coffee, whether tea, whether pyrethrum, zote zilikufa wakati huo. Is this somebody that we needed to glorify ati alifanya? Number 3, you remember there was something called the Dode Bill.
Yes.
Ambayo ilikuwa deposit tunaendaga kwa bank kukopa. Dode alitoka lini? But we still remember that there was something called Dode Bill. Me, I just ask our members that what we needed to do ni kuangalia what should be the minimum entry ya mtu ambaye anaigia MCA. Tuseme ya kwamba kwa sababu hawa watu wako chini, tuseme ya kwamba wacha tufanye kama ni post secondary school. Tuseme post secondary school. Kama niyo ni diploma kwenda juu. Hawa ambao ni senators. Na mimi nashindwa kwa nini watu, unajua mixed up. Tunasema viongozi, tunalock one. Ni watu wangapi sasa hivi leader nimalizie kwa kusema angalia sasa bunge ambayo iko Senate. Wangalia wale watu ambao hawana degree. Tuliambiwa wabunge wote ni vote. Wale hawana degree. So hata tukifanya namna gani, hata tuseme namna gani, at the end of the day kama kuna kitu inakuwa limited ni hii uongozi. Utapata ya kwamba wale wanasimama ni wale tu.
Okay, all right. A few times, and true to it, wale too, and they've been able to twist, all these laws to a level whereby they go in favor of them. One, I'd want to ask this, Eric, and make it brief so that we can close. The aspect of them, switching or tweaking the law in favor of them. If you look at the reviews, remember we said that this debate started way back even before the promulgation of this current constitution. But every time they have tweaked it in favor of them. Wengine wanaenda kwa Kibaki wanamwambia unajua sisi wote hatuna na tuko hapa, we don't want to go. Are you not scared that again they are going to tweak it? Because they're still there wale ambao hawajasoma.
So that's the worry exactly. And that actually worries me, because at the end of the day, I said, wakati nilianza, in my preamble, I said that every penultimate year to election, you find this law being revised. It was revised in 2011.
Yes.
In 2012, sorry, a year before election. 2016, penultimate year before election. We did not have this conversation 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We're actually having this conversation now. Just a year to the election. So the whole idea is to try as much as possible to subvert this law. And unfortunately for me, I actually think you can imagine having an entourage of MPs accompanying the president to probably Britain, and they're supposed to make a presentation, and none of them is eloquent. What kind of picture are we giving to the global world?
They're using that justification to say the United Kingdom, really, that is not a requirement. But you find that most of these representatives there have taken a level of making sure that they are learned.
Exactly.
They have taken it to a different level.
And that's why I'm saying, when we make laws, we don't make laws for here and now only. We make laws for posterity. If you're making laws for posterity, I want to remind Kenyans that you have this law deferred. You're talking about 2026. It's also going to get deferred again to 2031. Isn't it? So the whole idea is, let us enact this law as early as now. I want to remind you, once you're done with your KCPE, no one tells you that here's your certificate. Now you have the powers to read and write. You only get that once you have your degree. You're told the moment you're given your degree, you're told that now you have the powers to do what? To read and write. And lastly, they say
we have to close because of time.
I agree. Lastly, they say that the quality of tea is in the sieve. The quality of your tea is in the sieve. And if leadership is wisdom. Wisdom always embraces knowledge.
All right, Jennifer.
Okay, thank you. On our closing remarks, we always say that leadership is inborn. Even when we look at the Holy Book, we'll understand some of those leaders who are learned. If you look like Paul in the book, Paul who wrote so many books, Paul was a law scholar, so he was not just a lay person. So if we need people to make good laws in our country, we need people who can be able to get the concept, interpret the concept. And we also need to encourage. In leadership, it is modern. Leadership keep on evolving. Education is one quality of leadership as others. So we cannot just push education away and says that it is not important.
All right.
This law has been there from 2011. So a leader needs to plan ahead. So the people who knew they were vying, they should have planned ahead that by this time, these people are needed. I should have gone back to school, acquired the paper, and so that
they say there's COVID-19, and therefore 5 years.
You plan even the eventuality.
The education has been
foreseen.
Okay.
You plan even for unforeseen.
All right. Okay. I don't know whether they're going to alter this again based on such arguments, but we can only wait to see. Daktari, you will agree with me that somehow you've managed to argue, at the level of the county assembly based on, the confidence that you have education that is backing you up. Probably at that point when you went to sell your manifesto to the people, you also had the confidence that you are a scholar, you're a learned person, and therefore it was easy for you to argue and also have the people having confidence in you. And I mean, we hear them even on ground say, kwanza amesoma that we represent vizuri sana. Make it brief.
It's very briefly that it is true, and that's why we are saying, let everybody go to the ground. Let nobody think wacha mtu asisikia ni kama anataka kuhurumiwa because he has a degree on the ground. Go and sell yourself. Of course, people are able to see, and leader, this is what we are saying. The Wanjiko have senses. They are listening to what we are saying right now. They are able to see the difference. So let us give them that opportunity to know this person have more capacity. They are educated, so they have more capacity. They listen to me. They hear what I contribute in the assembly. They listen to what I do on the ground. So wacha tusitae kuhurumiwa. Number two, if somebody thinks they want to be rewarded and I have a degree, so I need to be rewarded by making sure that those who don't have degrees are removed. Tafadhali enda tafute kazi ingine ya serikali ama ya private sector, alipwe pesa mingi. So we don't come to political leadership to be paid, to be remunerated. That's why this is sacrifice. sacrifice. We come here to add value. The most underlying point of political leadership is actually satisfaction of hearing that you are answering to the community needs. That is paramount. So finally, I'm foreseeing a situation where this law will be revised again to allow everybody to vie. Wajiko ata decide who is going to be in the next bunge na National Assembly. Wacha tusikatie watu nje. Let everybody go and vie. Wajiko will decide.
Roslyn, dakika ama sekunde 30 tukusikia.
Okay, what I want to say, let us engage the youth in implementation of their ideas. Then we will move on. Na the degree huku ground huku chini, mkumbuke kuna watu wako na skills na wanaweza read. Then wananchi wajiko wajichagulie the readers they want. Cause hata hizi degrees unaona, si unasikia saa hii kuna ma degrees zinatakikana. Hey, zaliva litakuwa mingi kuliko zenye real. Takuwa mingi sana. And these people will be going to court. Na sema huwezi enda kuambia the lecturers there in university hiyo degrees hiyo ya shule.
All right.
Now the people with money will go and buy so many of them. Na wazilete huku kwa ground. Sasa sisi tuna worship the degree but we don't know where it came from.
Due diligence, very important.
Yes.
Awene, you have to finish this in 30 seconds.
I think yangu ni simple. They have quoted so many articles of the Constitution of Kenya. But the Article 1 is important. Power belongs to the people.
Yeah.
And mwananchi, you can decide to exercise your power directly or indirectly. This time round, tukikuja kwa ground sisi, exercise your power directly. Chagua kiongozi mwenye ako committed to you. A leader who can communicate out what you are going through. Look,
we have to close.
I'm closing down. If you need degree holders, let us nominate degree holders to county assemblies, to parliament, instead of nominating girlfriends ya waheshimiwa.
Okay, that is interesting, and of course that is it has to be. We have to close.
Let me say something.
No, we have to. We have to. Unfortunately, because there's another program that is coming in, and we are constrained on aspects of time. Simon Awene, last speaker, founder Slam Story Key. Kenya, and of course we also had Roslyn Wanjiku, who's a business lady, Stanley Karanja, MCA Naivasha East, Jennifer Nyaga, former MCA Kirinyaga, Peter Mbaye, that is Daktari Peter Mbaye, MCA Kabazi, that is ward in Nakuru, and lastly Eric Gishuki, MCA Viwandani ward. I'm sorry, I'll invite you some other time. He's an engineer. Yeah, engineer. I'm sorry.
Engineer.
Forgive me for not saying that, right?
You don't need to say not like doctor.
A doctor.
Yeah, not like doctor.
So closing at that, we get to Fitness Thursday.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.